And he was the one that was like, we gotta have you on the show. And I was just like, what? And so then I was able to follow up with his people and be able to be there. And then even the whole moment was surreal because walking in there, I was like, what? Like I was just, I was still like in shock, kind of like, for real. And then even sitting in the chair going through the whole interview, I was like, and I know it was God throughout the whole time, like, because I always said it was kind of like the responses were right there in front of me, and God was showing me how to navigate the conversation, how to be able to speak honestly and just upfront, and which was like, you get a little nervous, like, God, but it's like, no, you say, this is what I want you to say, this is what I want you to say, this. And so the whole how it impacted me was showing me that God is able to put you in places by prayer, because that's how I got there. It's only by prayer. I didn't do anything like extraordinary in terms of like it wasn't even from my music, it was from praying, which was something that really spoke volumes to me, because we kind of put prayer to the wayside sometimes, and like, nah, I gotta do this, I gotta have a bunch of action behind me. But God was like, look where prayer got you.
Lottie Dottie, we like to party, to party, to party. We like to party.
Welcome back to the Personal Pizza Party Show. My name is Jada. I am your host, the creative Chicago native who absolutely, positively loves pizza. If you happen to be a creative who isn't afraid to get a little personal, welcome to your new favorite show. This is the place where dope conversations happen, so let's get into it. I'm very excited to introduce today's guest, straight from the great New York City, Lower East Side, LES, Triple Threats, artist, actress, prayer warrior, praying for your favorite rapper, founder of Not On My Watch, the Pray for HipHop initiative, the one and only Kei-Landa. You may have seen Kei not too long ago on The Breakfast Club, shining her light, sharing Christ, and literally praying for the hip-hop community.
I pray that you would touch their hearts, God. I pray that you would be able to grip their minds and show them how much you love them, God.
She also does and has been doing exactly that every Monday on Instagram, if you follow at Pray for Hip Hop. She's also an award-winning actress. But let me show you better than I can tell you. Watch this.
Wake up. Feels like time is slipping, wondering what I'm doing. I don't know what happened before. I went to bed a little girl and woke up 24. I went to bed a little girl and woke up 24. Yeah.
That was the lovely Kei-Landa you just saw.
Now wait.
Before we hop into the conversation, let me bring in my co-host. Now that I have my vitamin P, we can get into the episode. Grab yourself a slice. This is episode 1 with Kei-Landa. Enjoy.
Yeah, so I wanted to start off with like just with what's happening in the world. Like, what has the last, like, because at first I was like the last 3 months, but the last 4 to 5 months looked like for you?
It's been crazy to say the least. For me, just with the pandemic, it hit me in a different way. Just so I can talk about that now. I actually lost my father to the virus, and so that was something that made it just a whole different wave with that. So it was just something to not only walk through the changes in terms of quarantine and what is going on in our world, but then it hit us personally. So it was just like, this is real, like everything that's been going on. And then to also progress forward in the racial injustices that are coming up, that have always been there, but are being highlighted a lot in this season. That's something that was heavy as well. And just having to navigate conversations and speaking up, and wanting to also pray that God would bring a resolution during this time too, because it's a lot. There's so many things in these last few months that's been like emotionally like stacked. And so it's been hard, to be honest. And it's only, I say it all the time, it's only God who has helped. I know myself, my family, and so many others stand after each wave that hits.
Yeah. Definitely want to say sorry about your dad. Like, I did see that on your social media. I absolutely can't imagine. Let me switch that over. But yeah, so kind of like on a lighter note, I wanted to ask you, like, what's the most fun or like the craziest thing that you've done since the quarantine started?
Well, actually, I would say with my family and we've done like our own little shops in here. Like I'll say for me, I've done a movie theater with my family. And so like I legit printed out like handmade like little tickets, popcorn, and we're vegan. So I made like vegan nacho and cheese, like a whole supreme setup. And we've just been like enjoying like each other with creatively, because one of my sisters, she did a facial spa one day. So then she was giving us all facials, and like one of my other sisters, she did like a restaurant. So like we came like just hanging out with each other. Another one, foot spa. So it's just been like funny to see. Oh, my mom, she did like a paint and sip one night. And so it's just been funny to see, because we're all creatives. And so just something to get us moving each day sometimes, or something to look forward to. We just kind of made our own fun.
How has the pandemic impacted you and your students?
Yeah, it's been a shift, like a crazy shift. Because even for me as a substitute, like we were like, how are we going to do this? Like, do I substitute for online teaching? Like, but what ended up happening is I was able to support, like I call it like a cyber dean, like check on students, check on parents, and see how they're doing, how they're navigating the online lessons. And if they didn't complete their work, like checking in, like, hey, we noticed you didn't complete your homework. Like, what's going on? So I was kind of like, basically how I would be in a classroom where like, hey, your teacher left this. Are you doing it? And so it was cool though, because it built a personal connection with the students, especially their parents that I had. Like we all had specific groups that we checked on, and just to openly talk to them and let them know like we're here for you. More than anything, we want to know, are you okay? And that was something that built really good foundation and friendship with a lot of the parents. So they knew like, this is a load off of me, because it was a lot. No, I told them too, like, I've never went to school during a pandemic. I can never say that I have ever had to do anything like this. So and especially for our culture, the way America is, it's something new for kids to be like, what? I have to do what? So it was tough, but we made it. We made it.
Yes, like I can't like imagine like for some students and stuff, and especially like people who, you know, like don't have like the best like home situation, and like school like might be an escape for them. But I do want to say like that's like so like dope of you to just take the initiative and do that, and just like check on like each of the students and their families and stuff and how they're doing, because I know a lot of people are just struggling with like the online thing and like having to be like a teacher to their kids.
Yeah. That's the thing too. And now you hear frustration with parents too. Like I have 3 kids, so I have to be 3 teachers. And my child over here has a lot of work, and my high school student, because for me, it's for middle school and high school, but I was focused on the high school during the pandemic. And so to have a high school student that's feeling like they can't do their work, but then the mom is dealing with the middle schooler and a toddler. That was one of my parents. And it was just like, it's a lot to handle. Stuff that nobody really prepared for or would know. Like, let me make sure I know how to homeschool one day, because the pandemic's coming. It's like, nobody does that.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody does that.
Like, we couldn't have possibly been prepared for these times.
Not at all.
So before we kind of like move forward and talk about just some recent things that you've done, I wanted to go back and kind of start from like your first project. So in 2016, the 24 Dreamer project that you put out. So kind of like take us back to that time, and like how have you grown since then?
Yeah, so I remember, I'm like, always has my heart, my first project. So 24 Dreamer, I wrote the project when I was 24, and at that time I had felt like there were so many things, so many dreams that I had since I was little that I haven't seen yet. So many things that I wanted to still accomplish. And so each of those songs is what I felt. Like just the journey of the ups and downs of being a young adult, wanting to see God move, wanting to see dreams come true, wanting to find love and all those types of things. That's why you see like Tunnel Vision, one of those songs is like about trying to focus. And 24, the title track itself is that it says, I went to bed a little girl and woke up 24. Because that's sometimes how being adult hits you. Like one day you just realize like, yo, I got responsibilities. I can't I can't like play around anymore. And then you have songs like Mr. Better, who's like, yo, where he at, Lord? Or the worst part, like trying to find Mr. Better and you encounter the worst part. So I don't want to, y'all got to listen to it, you know what I'm saying? But since then, I've grown and just, it's taught me to continue to be transparent in my music and to always be true to what I'm going through, even in a season or things that just being able to talk about dreams and aspirations, like it's taught, that's what that project taught me the most. Like, don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't be afraid to say it like it is, and also to find places where others can relate to me, because that's what was the foundation of that project, realizing that there were a bunch of us at that time who were going through the same thing. So I was like, oh, I'm not alone. So that's one of my things in my music, to let people know, like, you're not alone. Like, I'm here, others are here, we in this.
Absolutely. And yeah, and I want to say like the song that I feel like I connected most with was 24. Like I just loved like how it sounded, and just like the different elements. I felt like it was like very cinematic, and I also like the very end how you had the alarm and stuff, because I'm like one of those people who, you know, always hitting snooze and waking up late and
That's me.
stuff like that. Yeah, like I think, you know, and a lot of people really connect with that song.
Mhm.
And so one thing that I like to share with just anyone I'm talking to is how I just first, like, you know, found out about you and whatnot. So kind of talked about a young lady already, but that was the first time that I, like, you know, found out about you in 2016 when they were giving out the grants. And I think it's so, like, I'm not even going to say funny or like interesting, but I don't know, like it just really like stood out to me how like the final three, it was you, Wande, and AI. And I mean, look at where you guys are now.
Oh, word, that was AI. That's crazy. I actually I forgot that.
I just ended up finding it like when I searched you on YouTube, and I'm like, oh yeah. And then like the final three videos, it was the three of you guys.
Wow, because I do remember I remember me and one day, and I do remember that there was someone else. So I'm like, that was AI. That's dope.
Yes. More recently, just kind of, I think like maybe starting in last year, you have your ice cream break series.
Yeah.
Which I think is just such a cute concept. It reminds me of kind of what I'm trying to do with the personal pizza party, just using the pizza thing as a vehicle. I assume that you enjoy ice cream a lot. So yeah, like just kind of like talk about that. Like you had a lot of creative videos, and you just like covered a lot of popular songs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so with ice cream breaks is what you said, like I love ice cream, and so I thought about what ice cream represents, and it's like something sweet, something that like, so for some people they like coffee breaks, but for me I don't drink coffee, so I'm like, I like ice cream breaks. Like I'll go and get a scoop of ice cream before I drink a cup of coffee. And so for me,
I've never heard that before.
That's why you see, you get it. So that's why even at work sometimes I like during my lunch break is when I would post them up, because it's like instead of going to the break room to get coffee, I'll be going to drop some ice cream. So I thought of each one like a scoop, like here's something sweet for your day. So that's one of the things I wanted to give. And then also it's going to continue to grow. Like I want to still do more with it. It's just thinking about how when do we run to ice cream? When we're feeling happy, when we're feeling sad. So it's just like ice cream has so many layers other than the fact that it tastes good. Mm-hmm. So I'm
that
was good. So there's gonna be more coming, but I just love the concept. I'm just like, that's God. I'm like, yo, that's kind of dope. I get it.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure if like it was maybe like a production company that you had, or like what, but then I saw that you said that it was a series.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to grow into, like a production company, because I would love to do not even just like music, but to write like even little skits, or it's just something that things that people would look at and be like, yo, that's dope. Like something short, sweet, like or long, however it goes. So I'm still like praying on the vision and gathering what I would need, but I would love for it to grow into that, because like I love to tell stories too. So it's like, so I'm like locking stuff in, like, yo, this is something.
Okay, so you do many things. You're a rapper, singer, actress, a substitute teacher. You do hip hop ministry with Truth, writer, and then another huge part of your life is prayer. And so for the past 8 years, you pray specifically for the hip hop community, and you founded Pray for Hip Hop. And it seems like it began as something that you did privately. But you've also prayed for many hip hop artists and just other influential people, in person. And so I just kind of wanted to talk about that for a bit. So, and then like I just want to say too, like, I think it's something to be said about, because there's such a way that we look at, celebrities, just influential people. But I feel like for you, like maybe like that enables you to do that. Of course, the Lord, and just like I believe that you're able to see the humanity in them, and that just really stood out to me. But what were like some of those moments like in those conversations that you've had like with different artists?
It was really I love the fact that like God had me pray first before I ran into anyone, because the fact is that it allowed me to do just what you said, like see them as a human and not like be overwhelmed with like, yo, this is this person, or yo, that's that person. And so the conversations always were able to be genuine, because I wasn't like asking for anything. I wasn't trying to like, I don't know. I just really wanted to get the point across that I'm praying for you. And I wanted that to sink in. And then sometimes like running into like Charlemagne, running into him twice was how we were able just to continue the conversation of like, what is this that you do? Like, why is it that you do this? And then for more than anything, for them to feel that heart of God, like that was the whole goal of it. And a lot of them were able to do that, like to feel like beyond even, I want them to even see beyond me and see the fact that it's God reaching out to them. It's not me. It's God. Yeah. And so that was something that was really important to me. And then I would always walk away sometimes like, did I say enough? Did I do enough? But God's like, you leave that to me. And I was just like, all right, that's you. You got it.
But yeah, and so like this isn't for you, but just for people watching, I wanted to go down the list of the people that you pray for, because these are potentially some people's like favorite artists. So and just correct me if any of these are wrong. But you pray for Nelly, Jermaine Dupri, Designer, A$AP Ferg, Iggy Azalea, Russell Simmons, Kirk Franklin, Charlamagne the Guy you mentioned, Eric B. and Rakim, Safari. And I just have with a question mark like her and then Ice-T and Coco. I know you met them, but I didn't know. I wasn't sure if you actually prayed for them or not.
Yeah, for Ice-T, I was able to, because they were like, that moment, they were rushing us along, but they even told us when we met them, like, don't say anything to them. But I was like, yeah. I was like, hey, I want to let you know that I pray for hip-hop. And he was like, thank you. And like, so it was like a quick moment. And her, like, they were able to tell her about the movement as well, but I didn't get that moment to like pray for her right then and there. But yeah.
Yeah, so just like one thing that I've noticed or just like that I like kind of like picked up like about like your personality or whatever is I feel like you're really bold and you seem fearless. So like how like are you like that way, like because everybody like won't go up to especially a celebrity and just pray for them, let alone like a regular person.
I would say that it's to sound cliche or to keep saying it, is God, because like I feel like it's just the confidence when you know that God has called you to do something, so then like you just do it. And that's the thing too, like there are moments too, I'm not saying that I'm bold all the time, or like, because I'll be scared sometimes, like walking up to some of them is always that slight hesitation, like do I? But then it's just like, you've been praying, you better go over there. And so it's just going forward in the confidence that I know that God is walking with me. I know that this is a setup from God, that he put all this together. And I would just encourage people to like just continue to find out, like even just when you're operating your purpose, there's just a confidence that what you're doing is like what you're supposed to be doing. So I think I hope I answered it correctly, but just knowing that when God has called you to something, he meets you with what all you need to complete.
definitely want to talk about your interview on the Breakfast Club. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, so like how did that happen? And you know, like how has that impacted you and Pray for Hip Hop?
Yeah, so with that, it was because I had run into, as I had said before, I ran into Charlemagne twice, and so like after the first time, he was like, he told me to post a picture up, and then he reposted it on his page, and then like 2 years after that, I ran into him again, and I was like, "You remember me?" He was like, "Of course I remember you." So then we spoke a little bit, and I told him like, and he said, "So what is this that you do?" And I told him about Not on My Watch, Pray for Hip Hop, the whole movement, and he was the one that was like, "We gotta have you on the show," and I was just like, what? And so then I was able to follow up with his people and be able to be there. And then even the whole moment was surreal because walking in there, I was like, what? Like I was just, I was still like in shock, kind of like, for real. And then even sitting in the chair going through the whole interview, I was like, and I know it was God throughout the whole time, like, because I always said it was kind of like the responses were right there in front of me, and God was showing me how to navigate the conversation, how to be able to speak honestly and just upfront, and which was like, you get a little nervous, like, God, but it's like, no, you say this is what I want you to say, this is what I want you to say, this. And so the whole how it impacted me was showing me that God is able to put you in places by prayer, because that's how I got there. It's only by prayer. I didn't do anything like extraordinary in terms of like it wasn't even from my music, it was from praying, which was something that really spoke volumes to me, because we kind of put prayer to the wayside sometimes, and like, nah, I gotta do this, I gotta have a bunch of action behind me. But God was like, look where prayer got you. And that's something that even now saying it, I have to remember that like prayer is something that can get you in places that even your gifts won't take you.
I really hope you enjoyed part 1 of this episode with Kei-Landa. You can find her music on all streaming platforms. You can also check out her other projects, including Not on My Watch, aka Pray for Hip Hop, in the description box below, and follow her on social media right on the screen. If you enjoyed this episode of Personal Pizza Party Show, drop a comment below, like this video, and I will love you like I love pizza if you subscribe. Also, feel free to hit me up on Instagram. Stay tuned for a new episode next week. And as always, thank you so much for sharing a slice of life with me. And I will see you later.
Dry your eyes, I'll catch your tears like fireflies. Yeah. When you can't dry your eyes, I'll catch your tears like fireflies. You're precious to me.